minimize and ensure that US was actually controlled within their borders and even within their countries. So in terms of policies, they do exist. So as I said, the gap is implementation, implementation, implementation. And that is actually one of the I's that I mentioned, because I mentioned innovations, ideas they do exist. Incentives, institutions, and implementation are where we have the gaps. That said, one of the aspects to implement policy is not just to talk about it, is to showcase. And so the first part is incentives from a physical policy perspective, which is very simple. And this is what I've been advocating, that governments should be able to inspire young people to venture into recycling, either it is plastics or it's e-waste or it's agricultural waste, and they should provide tax breaks for them. So if you can map at those who are doing this and you provide tax breaks, that you set up an enterprise to be able to address e-waste, you don't pay taxes for the next 5 years. Actually, you get tax rebates, you get appreciated and rewarded for what you do. We will then have voluntary young people who are learning this trade and coming up with enterprises that will help to solve the problem that is only being incentivized by government. That is one. The other aspect, as you've mentioned, and that's what I'm actually saying, is that there are people who have their companies and there are people who are even trying to address this US issue, but they do it in silos as individuals or just as a group of people. My argument have been, why don't we use cooperatives, which I mentioned, so that every young person who is interested in this e-waste or anything to do with pollution, including e-waste, can then be able to register in that cooperative and then get trained so that they work within a group that can be easily recognized and they can be traced, because where you can trace action, it also ensures accountability and you can actually be able to quantify what has happened. And therefore, they also get health and safety gears, because most of these people don't even have health and safety gears. You see them removing some of these electronics that have toxic, contaminated material, whether it's gold or cadmium, all those things, without even having protective gear because they don't have the money. But if there is a cooperative that can then be able to work with these young people and then engage those who can train them in a very structured way, that will help to solve this big problem and create opportunities for people in the continent. So it's a beautiful question you asked. It is relevant, but I believe it can be changed using a very simplistic, logical approach, not this heavy top-down big grammar that we keep hearing all the time.